Today in our Passion Week devotionals, we are going to be looking at the second saying of Jesus, found in Luke chapter 23, verse 43, where he says, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." And I think that we have to begin this devotion by asking the question, what prompted Jesus to make that statement? Because when we think about it, he had been through a lot. In the last 24 hours, he had been bounced from court to court to court. He had been beaten, had his beard plucked out. He had been whipped and scourged 39 times with the cat of nine tails. He had to carry his own beams of his cross up to Golgotha, and then he was nailed to those beams and hanging there. What would prompt Jesus to say something like, "Truly, I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise," with all that was going on? Well, if we back up just a few verses, we can see that Jesus was crucified between two criminals, and there was a mob of people at their feet mocking Jesus and calling him out for being the King of the Jews and offering him sour wine. And during this mocking, one of those criminals on the cross began to join in the mocking. And he said to Jesus in verse 39, "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." And he asked Jesus to save them from their crimes and to bring them off of their punishment. But something then surprising happened. You see, the other criminal who was there on the cross with Jesus began to rebuke and defend Jesus. He rebuked the other criminal by saying in verse 40, "Don't you even fear God, since you are undergoing the same punishment?" And then in verse 41, he defends Jesus. He says, "We are punished justly because we are getting what we deserve for the things we did. But this man has done nothing wrong." And then this criminal, a hardened criminal, looked to Jesus and said, "Jesus, remember me when you enter your kingdom." What a beautiful request from him to Jesus. And that is what prompted Jesus to say, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." You see, both of these criminals, they requested salvation from God. One requested in a mocking way that God save him from his punishment. But the other, he didn't ask to be saved from his punishment. He knew that he was getting what he deserved. But he was asking for a heavenly salvation. And it was through his faith in Jesus as the Messiah that he was saved. He recognized who Jesus was and that there was a kingdom coming. And so he asked him to remember him. And Jesus said, "I will remember you, because today you will be with me in paradise." But what does this statement mean for us? It's a beautiful picture of God's salvation. We get to see the first convert this side of the cross. But what does it mean for you and I? Well, it means this. There is a choice we have to make. You see, Jesus was crucified between these two criminals. They had equal access to him. They got to witness what was going on equally. And yet one of them rejected Jesus. But the other accepted, defended, and put his faith in Jesus. And we have that same opportunity. We are born into this world as sinners, and we are in need of Jesus. And we have that choice, that same choice. He offers us a gift. Will we reject it and mock him, or will we trust him and put our faith in him? The second thing that we need is to understand that this criminal, he didn't do anything to earn his salvation. He was a hardened criminal, convicted of his crimes and sentenced to death. He couldn't get down off of that cross and go make up for what he had done. Even defending Jesus and rebuking the other criminal wasn't enough to save himself. He couldn't do it. He was in need of a Savior. And it was through his faith, confessed through his mouth, that Jesus bestowed his grace upon him. And it was that grace that saved him. We, like that criminal, are just as needy. And this passage shows us that God cares for the needy. He saw that we couldn't do it on our own. He saw that this criminal couldn't do it on his own. So he left his throne room, he came down to this earth, and he died for us, paid our penalty so that we wouldn't have to. And we have that choice to accept that gift, to receive it by confessing with our mouth that he is Lord, just like this criminal. And if you make that choice, anytime you read Luke chapter 23, verse 43, and you hear, "Truly I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise," you can rest assured and be reassured that that statement is for you. Have a great Easter week.